And again, it opened my eyes to the fact and confirmed my suspicions about knowledge when it comes to the 10-year-olds all the way up to the 18-year-olds. It's incredible knowledge, 9-year-olds as well. And what you must remember, that the first sort of questions I would always ask is, who has the internet, who has a mobile phone, and year 5 and year 6, hands are going up, who has Facebook, yeah, year 5, year 6. We all know that there's a guideline that says 13. But this is a thing that, you know, in this day and age, there's this expression called the digital natives, because they've never known anything in their life without the internet, without uploading, without downloading. So all today confirm my understanding, not just suspicions, that the dangers are real, and unless we give them awareness type assemblies, that can lead to areas of the internet that can cause harm and put them into risk. So we designed this. All day and every year I've been talking about communication, using the word dialogue. And I was just saying earlier, you might find that your child may go home and want to talk to you about Minecraft, Candy Crush. It could be Call of Duty, it could be Warcraft, it could be anything. It could also be the fact that your daughters will talk about, I have this saying that as they get older, it was wonderful talking to obviously year 7 and 8 and 9 and 10, and I always say, well boy, I'm a father of 3 girls, and the interesting bit will be that if you look at the type of internet user, boys will always want to race things, shoot things, kick things and win. Girls will always want to pick their phone up and go, look at me, here's my picture, look how good, look how we look together, and they press the upload button. There's more uploading done by girls by about, well, they're about 65% of boys. That's the way the girls use it. Does that make them in more risk? Possibly. But of course the boys, they hide themselves in their world of Call of Duty or Black Ops with their headphones on and the microphone. You can't hear or really see what they're doing. Does that make them more at risk? Possibly. But what it really is this area of communication, you must be part of that world. What are they uploading? What pictures do they take? What is their Facebook page looking at? If you've got a year 5 son or daughter who's on Facebook, are you on there with them? Did you create it for them? Did you create the email? Have you got control of the password? Do you limit the times they can go on? Do you limit the time for the internet through the hub? And I think here it's Movie Star, isn't it? One of the big providers. What have you got that you can? There's another one, isn't there? There's another one, but anyway, you can through the hub. You've got a modem and a hub. You can limit when this gets attached to the internet or can access. And I do that at home with my daughters. My youngest, her iPod and her computer, they go off the internet at 8 o'clock. My middle daughter, it's 9. My eldest was 16, it's 10. I don't shut mine down, apart from physically. If they need more time, I will go on and say, you've got an extra 45 minutes or you've got an extra hour. That's your homework. You can do it. It's very easy to do. I'm not a geek. I can't fix computers. I was just on the internet a lot. So these are the areas you have to now. If you feel that you're not part of your child's internet life, now's the time. Because I'm hopefully that some of them will go home and say, come on, let's go online sort of thing. It may work. Because this is what we tend to talk about, this confidence and where I talk to them about it, but where do you guys sit? If I can get this to work. Sorry, I went too far. So where would you sit on this spectrum of confidence? Now I personally sit somewhere about here. I was formerly a police officer and spent 8 years as a 12, 13-year-old girl online, looking for bad people. And then I studied it and carried on research into online behaviour, where children, young adults who are child's behaviour as well as offenders. Cyberbullying, sexting, sextortion, sex casting, trolling. I've looked at all those and I've written a lot about it. So I'm probably about there. Some of you may well be up here. Some of you are down here. Now I say this, she doesn't mind me saying it, my wife is about here. She's not on Facebook, she's not on Twitter, she cannot stand social media. She will use the internet basically to spend my money. Yeah? So that's what, but really, when it comes to social media, she's there. But that doesn't worry her. Don't need it. Not part of my life. I understand and appreciate that. And that's the way it goes. Unfortunately, year 5, year 6, that's the opposite. They want to be up there. And they will do their utmost to be the Mark Zuckerberg. Well, we'd like the money, but whilst they're growing up, what do we do to make sure they're okay? And then what do we now put that down? What mechanisms are in place should things go wrong? You've got some great experts in this school. Teachers have always been and will always remain the experts on bullying, on how to deal with problems at school. That includes cyberbullying. Just because it happens at home or happens on a phone or gets tapped into here, the trusted adults that I tell the pupils today, it's your family, but it's also the teachers, because teachers will spend 8-9 hours, even longer with it. You know, I've got 3 daughters at schools. I put my trust in the teachers, and so do you. So I want the pupils to, and they become trusted adults. Because that's how it's all changed. Why focus on it? Why am I here? I'm here to protect the school. Because part of, in the UK, Ofsted and ISI, when they do inspections, they want to make sure that we're getting awareness messages to parents, pupils, and also to staff. Because we've all heard about Ask FM recently in the summer, the horrible suicide, Hannah Smith, and then the young lad also up in Northumberland in the UK. It happens. You don't go a month without hearing of another suicide, normally between the ages of 13 and 17. And if you look at statistics, it will show that cyberbullying begins about year 9. There is the sort of thing in year 8, but year 9, year 10, cyberbullying will start into year 11, into year 12. About year 7 and year 8. Year 9, sexting starts because of the first relationships they're going to get into. When I spoke to the years today, it was funny, you know, you talk about, oh yeah, your first girlfriend and boyfriend, and you can see them all giggling and the boys blushing. It's happening. And I talk about things like selfies. You've heard that expression, selfies? You're taking a picture of yourself, the sexting, but a selfie. They all knew it. Oh yeah, embarrassing pictures. Because it might not be as serious as a sexting picture, but it might be an embarrassing picture that's been uploaded that will affect their online reputation. Because all employers now and all universities don't even worry about what grades you got. The first thing universities do is put your details through social media. And they'll want to see, first of all, if there's anything on there they should be aware of. Because places are in demand. Something like, is it 15 or 20 people for every place at university? So they could choose. So if they see somebody with an image that they don't like or think is inappropriate, I'll go for that person, irrespective of the 3 A stars. So again, as the children were getting out, I wanted to make sure I talked about online reputation even to the younger ones, not to the same extent, and as it went up to the 12 and 13, about how important it is. Very important for 10 and 11, because they're at that crossroads now. They've got the 2 years before the first exam, till the end of the exams of year 11, into the A-levels. So they must now start creating a positive digital footprint through blogging, putting real interests up there, not just look at me at the party, look at me doing this, look at me having a bit of fun, that's a bit embarrassing. So they got that sort of message today. Because when you look at the statistics, everything in life is about them being online, everything. I asked about the iPhones, the Androids, the Blackberries, the iPads, the Nintendo Wii, the Xbox, the PlayStation, all those they go on the internet. They will have the phones, the 3Gs, the 4Gs. We've bought them for them. When I go home and I set up and I look at the device, I've got 16 devices, my home hub tells me, that have been accessed onto my wireless. I'm a network. I didn't even know it. Because that's the way it is. And I was saying to them, they're all geeks. They don't like that word geek, but it's become quite as natural as riding a bike that you will know how to connect to the internet. Now, if I said the same as that 5-6 years ago, just after dial-up connections into wireless, oh, hang on a minute, now it's just second nature. We have all become geeks, which is good. And I'm not saying it's bad. I love it. I'm a bit of a futurologist. I want to see a cashless society. Cashless, or was it paper cashless? Paper cashless society. I also want to see things like, the car that can drive itself. I'm all for evolution of technology. So I'm not saying stop it, I'm saying, yeah, it's here. Let's love it. So everything about us, we put them on. But we have this perception as adults, everything is quite bad. It's the suicides. It's what the internet has done, what the dangers are. And the two words that I would use for you guys, and I didn't say this to the pupils, any of them, you've got risk and you've got harm. There's absolutely loads of risk, but not all of it is going to harm them. And I'm still a firm believer in that, like when you ride a bike for the first time or you swim, you'll get into difficulty, but we are there to make it right. We are there to help them get up when they've fallen off the bike. We are there to help them learn to swim. They've got to learn through their own mistakes. I'm a believer of that. But on the internet, we're very careful of this, because if we don't know what they're doing, we don't know whether it's a risk or not. So therefore, we don't know if it could cause harm. So again, as we talk further about this, when I talk about trolls, sexting, cyberbullying, they again confirm that they were aware of it, where it happens. Chat roulette, Omegle. You may have heard of those. If you haven't, all pupils in all years heard about it. But yeah, our perception is that. Even school teachers, in the sense of what happened in the past becomes up to date, becomes very present. This personal information, that's why I said I showed a picture of my daughters and my dog, because it was only fair that they had some personal information about me. Because I'm telling them, please don't, no need, absolutely no need to give personal information away. Because the only people who should be on your contacts, people you know. So they don't really need to know your mobile phone number. Why? They already know it. You don't need to put your address on there, because they know it. But the problem we have, and again, this was confirmed, is the reason that most young adults and children want to do this, because they want to network socially, create new friends. They actually want to meet people they don't know. Again, the message was getting was, this shouldn't be the case. This is not what it's designed for. And if that is going to happen, parents must be on board. Parents must be on board. So I told them that, so you can go home and say, oh, that funny guy that spoke to you, he was saying this. Let's get together, let's talk about it. Let's have that dialogue, communication. There has been bullying. It's just as likely that one of your child could be a bully as it is that they could be bullied. So bear that in mind, that you might actually get an answer you don't expect. But if there's people being bullied, there are bullies. Sorry about all the writing, but a lot of what this says, you can see it, you can read it. The whole of these presentations are available, and I leave them with the school. You can grab them, you can print them off, you can use them, whether for research or just to reiterate certain points. But the statistics will always show that there is an area that we've got to be very careful that we are giving these the children, very young children, mobile phones. And I'll say this, what's very interesting from this chat yesterday, in year 2, year 3, year 4 and 5, and today 5 and 6, my daughter's in year 6. If I go into her school and ask her class of 27 who's got a mobile phone, I know that, well, she's told me 10 have. She's got one, never takes it with her. She's a swimmer, so she has to go on camps. But it's something about international schools that say have one. And there's a far higher percentage of international school pupils who have mobile phones and technology than they have. I haven't done research, I don't know why. You probably have better answers, but that's the case. We as parents give the technology over to them, so therefore it's only right that we as parents make sure they're safe. And there's many ways you can do it, but the main way is dialogue. It's not going to be software that you buy, it's about creating profiles with them on Facebook for the first time, or Instagram, or Tumblr, or Feed, or Vine, or Geek. I do that deliberately because there might be someday you've never heard of. They have. They've been taking pictures and uploading them, the 10-second videos on Vine. Not all of them, but they all know it, and they will get to know about it. Whether I tell them or not, the thing about it, they share this information. They're their own little community. We've got to get in there. We've got to be the development officer within their community, if you like. We've got to learn about it. I show this, and I showed it to the sixth formers. People want to know about these, and what is, because the parents' perception of the internet is sexual predators. That isn't really the case. However, when I show this, and this is a wonderful thing for Google Insight, it shows you what's the most popular term used on Google. I use it for the UK. Do it for Spain, it'll be the same. I challenge you to find that out. I think I'll be right. But when you look at it, I do. So I can see Badminton England. Sport badminton, I work and do a lot with Badminton England. And that shows you the popularity of the search term on Google over the years. Compare it to my sport, which is rugby. You can see rugby has far more searches than badminton. You would expect that. Bigger sport, might be on a decline, but it's still far more popular. Then compare that to Justin Bieber. And only because Justin Bieber does actually say that he is the most searched for pop star on Google. It may be the case, but it's actually going down. But he's getting older. From the UK, we are obsessed by the weather. So that, in the UK, the most popular search term, you don't see anything else now, and there's Justin Bieber, he's gone, because I'm not going to bother to just look out the window, I'm actually going to search for it, because I can. If I was to put God in, I can only compare the 5, so if I put God fits about there, he's not as popular as the weather. But one thing is, unfortunately, it's poor. It's the most popular search term on Google, full stop. And the other thing you've got to be aware of is the graph of poor. Look at that. Now, that just shows you, if anybody ever says to you again, what's the internet used for? You can say, porn. And it is, that's just the way it is. Now, I'm not saying that's wrong, and I'm not saying that's all people searching for indecent images of children. It just shows us that that allows for this motivation and justification of experimenting, of being able to use your keyboard. When I was a kid, it would be the top shelf, the Playboy magazine, all how giggle. Now I can just, so easy. It really facilitates the amount of, if you think about it, you can search for it. And you can bet your bottom dollar somebody else has already searched for it as well. So this digital communication is everywhere. Some of these you will know of. Some of you are obviously on Facebook. Video chats. Has anybody here actually used chat roulette as an adult? Or Omegle? See, the pupils have, a lot of them have them all these years. We'll come on to that. Then you've got the new ones, the Tumblrs. Facebook, you'll know. Feed's a newer social networking site. Snapchat, anybody use it? Snapchat will sort of talk about that. That allows for sexting, and again, I mentioned these handy. I've got that. A lot of it might be bravado, but again, all years knew of Snapchat. Not that many in year 5, but then it goes all the way up. All the hands. That's what they use it for. That's their life. That's their applications that they've got on their phones. So when you start to look at it again, you get to the situation. Every device we've given them, you get that. If you took away my mobile, you would take away a part of me. That's why they're digital natives. Because we can't take them away. Education. Their homework's done online. We can't take it away. It's there. So we've now got to really become as part of their online persona, and sooner rather than later. Because when it comes down to the wonderful social media now, it is vast. It's all over the place. But they will have heard of a lot of these. They'll start down here, and somehow they're going to progress up to here. But in the meantime, they're going to use the others. Whether it's multiplayer stuff or publishing blogs. I'm a firm believer in blogging. I'm saying really use blogging. There's some there. WordPress is up there, I think, yeah? You can use these. Get your information. Get your interests out there. So when people do searches on you, whether it's university or employers, they see this part of you rather than perhaps this part of you from the gaming sites or the social media sites. And they took that on board, but you can see, for the youngsters, we have put them onto these. I showed them these apps, the WhatsApp, the Draw Something, the Bike Race, and the Candy Crush. Draw Something I'll put up there. Who knows Draw Something? Yeah? It's a simple app that you draw a picture, they've got to guess what it is. And I can draw it on my iPad, give you the iPad, and you've got to guess in certain menu game. Or we can play through Bluetooth, or we can play a friend on Facebook. It also allows random, which means when I'm online playing it, that I could play someone from around the world who's also got Draw Something, and it literally just brings them in and I can play with them. I'm sure you're aware of that.
I didn't know that part.
Okay. Well, what's interesting, what's happened first time in the UK, it's now 5 months ago, 3 9-year-old girls were at home on a sleepover on their father's iPad using Draw Something and went random and started playing. Now they, unfortunately, were then sexually groomed by a sexual predator who, instead of drawing a whale or a car, drew and gave website details and got them to go to websites and started to write messages, because you can write messages, it doesn't have to be a big What actually happened, I work for Kidscape, also consult for them, a children's charity. The school was around the corner in central London, Belgravia. They contacted me and said, we've just had this call from a worried teacher. It was on a Thursday afternoon that they were about to go, like today you heard about the buses, they were about to go home, and the teacher overheard one of them say, "Can't wait to go to the park," which was a bit odd because they get picked up. "What do you mean?" We're just going to the park. "Why is that?" "Oh, we're meeting a friend." "But who's the friend?" And they said, "Uncle so-and-so." "Who's this?" And they were so good. They said, "We met him on Draw Something." It was a sexual predator who was going to meet them. So the problem I had with these apps, and all I had today was them confirm that these are so popular, is it allows for this random access. It allows bike race, very popular. "Oh yeah, I've got that. I've got bike race. My daughters have got it." It allows messaging, because what the apps have done to make themselves more popular is give more functionality to it. So you can message the person you're playing against. Well, that could be someone in any part of the world. So straight away, everything about this is allowing interaction, and it's the interaction that is the risk that can create harm. So what I do with my 10-year-old, she's got an iPod, she's linked to my Apple account, so anytime she downloads an app, she's only allowed free apps, I get it on my iPhone. So I'll look at it and see whether it allows any sort of interaction or messaging. If it does, I go to her iPod and go, delete. And she accepts that, but I've had that in place for many years. So there are little things you can do, because these apps are just as dangerous, and there's no monitoring, there's no regulation, there was nothing law enforcement could do, because they could not identify this bad guy unless they'd actually gone to the park, because they don't hold any information about it. So again, it's an awareness of internet usage. As they get older, other sites will become a lot more popular, but still these apps stay in place. Even the sixth formers accepted they still go on Minecraft and Candy Crush. They will still use the apps because they're on the phone. Then you've got the great game changer, the wonderful iPad. I know the hands went up, year 5 to say, "Yeah, I got an iPad, yeah. Of course they have, we bought them for them. Of course we're doing this for them. No, we wouldn't have done that with a computer, but again, we as adults have gone, "Yeah, it's far easier, let's do this entertainment here. Yeah, I just got to get on it." Now, this is, again, I'm not saying this is a bad thing, but with a lot of people just go back. You can now buy an app. It's called a mobile app. The mobiles fit on top of a cot. Yeah, you can buy an app that's a mobile, and then you got the attachment that fits the iPod above the baby. Why not just buy a mobile? But no, let's use this electronic gadgetry. It's just amazing. But that's us. It ends up in that. The eye tantrum could be. But basically now, all young adults and children can access almost anyone accessing anything, anytime. Mobile phones. We've done that. And a lot of it is about building up responsibility. The volume's up, isn't it?
Okay.
Because what we have got, these digital natives, as I say. So the younger they are, I don't know how many parents here from even younger than year 5, there may be some, but you do have this situation. This is a wonderful video. I won't play it all, but it sums it up.
Hi, I'm Abby. And I'm Molly. And we're digital natives. And we love shopping. 3 years ago, I was dating on adult libraries. But I've matured. I'm into fashion. DKNY, College Dinigan, Louis Vuitton, and my favorite, Marc Jacobs. I buy all my clothes online from my iPad too. They look so good on the big screen. People ask me at bricks and mortar store, but I can't find their website. Anyway, I digress. I'm here to inform you that we fashionistas of the future all want a great customer experience. It's multi-channel online engagement that anticipates what we want and when we want it. There should also be in-dock sites, smartphone apps, and live real-time shop assistance. Ways to help us when we get there.
And the funny thing is, we're already there. People have followed technology. We are there, but God help those parents. But of course, yes, they're the parents did. But it just shows this is such a wonderful phrase. I used it today about these digital natives. And when you actually speak to even the sixth formers, they possibly don't remember a life without the internet. And then I talk to year 5, and they go to me, "What, life without the internet? What did you do?" Because that's the way they've known it. So again, it's as an acceptance of that we do know that's their life. But we don't want to, this risk, we don't want to exaggerate it. I wasn't doing that today. I wasn't putting any of those bad guys on the internet, there's cyberbullying. For me, it's all about personal information and online reputation, your digital footprint. We talk about carbon footprint. What about your digital footprint? What will be found out? So I did ask all years from 5 upwards, how many people Google themselves? Like, everybody should Google themselves on a weekly basis, because you've got no idea what other people are putting on about you. Do you think, no, I don't. And one girl said, well, I don't actually put anything online, so should I do it? I said, well, yeah, but what about other people? What about people pretending to be you? Oh, yeah. So it should go away. And the older, the young adults, I asked them to partner up with their friend. I said, have a 10-day challenge. What can you find out about me in 10 days? I want 10 good things and 10 bad things. And I'll do the same for you. It gets them ready, because there might be things on there that they don't know. And if they are aware of it, when they get challenged, that awareness will help. They can even, as the girl asked, can things get taken off the computer? Well, the internet. Yes, they can. It takes time. Google will certainly take things down. Websites will certainly take things down. But if you're talking about Ask FM, no, it's in Latvia. Chat roulette, no, it's in Russia. So you've got this problem, but it's the awareness of knowing. I talked about the chat roulette because that brought in the webcam, the fact that there's an awful lot of sites now showing that there's this remote access happening all the time. And that is through Trojans and viruses that have been downloaded by accident, but most likely from sites that have been for music or adverts, pop-ups that have happened. And the children, the young adults, they knew about that. They'll get a virus and it's automatically getting into the computer, switching on the webcam without you knowing. It's happening more and more. The light doesn't come on to say your webcam's on, and what happens is most children, my 3 girls do, they have their laptop in the bedroom and it will just film them. You can get free recording software. Didn't mention this to them. Camtasia, Screen Virtuoso, well, there's loads, but I can name 2. They record it and they then make a website or upload it to YouTube. They could be naked, just prancing around, dancing, something embarrassing, just won't know it's happening. So they've got to be aware. And I personally said, well, put a webcam, cover it up, put a bit of sticky tape on it, put a bit of blue tape on it. When you want to use it for FaceTime or Skype because your grandparents in England or your cousins in Australia, fine. Or do it with your parent, but don't use it. Don't go on chat roulette, don't go on Omegle. These are no-nos, and when I explain this, these are absolute no-nos. And of course the older children have realised, the young adults, didn't get that wrong when I spoke to them, they realise this because I stress the online reputation. Because if there has been some filming, secret filming, you bet your bottom dollar you can find it. Can you get it off the site? Possibly not. Be aware of it. Have you been? Are you a victim? You can always report it. It's again this awareness of what is out there and what can actually achieve. So this risky online behaviour, there is. You know, we were talking about the content, the contact and the conduct. What are you doing online? What are you doing? Who are you contacting? What are you uploading? I tend to stress uploading because of the girls doing the selfies or group pictures, or the boys with the headphones talking, they're uploading their voice, their messages on the Call of Duty or Black Ops. But certainly I put that up there. If you've got young adults who are now in the year 9, the year 10, moving on to year 11, first exams into A-levels, or those exams for university, that is paramount. Anything they do online will affect that. If it's positive, brilliant. If it's negative, let's do something about it. Either try and get it off or just be aware that it's there. Facebook, what have you uploaded? What pictures have you actually put on there? Don't rely on the privacy setting. Why? Facebook have accepted there is a glitch that signals can get sent down, lift or drop the privacy settings and make it public, and you won't know. So again, the little thing I said to the pupils, last 30 seconds of any Facebook time, just check your privacy settings. I have films, I show a lot of staff of a teacher in America. She was sacked, she made an inappropriate comment, but she did it to a friend and posted it on her Facebook, thinking it was private. Unfortunately, Facebook had lifted it, or dropped it. I keep getting that wrong. They dropped it, and she didn't know. She shouldn't have said it, but she lost her job. So they must insist on privacy settings. What you can also do, some of you here won't know that your child's on Facebook. Some of you will know, but won't be able to get into it. Part of my guidance with my children were, yes, you can have Facebook, I will always have the password. Always. And when they first started at 13, I limited how long they could have and how many contacts, things like that. They could have an hour, they would earn that, like they would earn to be able to go outside and ride on their bike. They could have 30 or 40 contacts, 20 from school, 20 family and friends. It soon filled up. I built up what I called a resilience that they understood. They understood netiquette was an old word we used to use. I call it resilience. Every child is vulnerable, every child's a risk taker, but how quickly can they get along that spectrum to be resilient to what else goes on around it? Can they be resilient to hearing at school, oh yeah, I got black ops, I'm not 18, I'm only 11, you want to use it? No, I don't. I understand why I shouldn't as well. You can build that up. If you get the child that insists at 9 or 10 they want Facebook, be there with them. Be there with them. I'm not saying don't do it. It's a guideline from the US that says 13. It's not legal. It's not illegal to be on Facebook age 7. I wouldn't advise it. But as I said to them, Facebook itself, Facebook per se, isn't dangerous for under 13s. It's also not designed for anybody under 13. If you look at it, it's drab, it's grey. It was designed for adults. MySpace, all colourful. Bebo, all colourful. They were for the kids. But Facebook became the popular one. I showed them this, obviously not the younger ones. Because what's interesting about Gemma Barker is Gemma, because you talk about the sexual predators out there, I didn't stress this at all really to the sixth formers, except what they've got to realise is Gemma Barker herself was an 18-year-old and she was pretending to be...
3 boys, 3 different names.
3 boys?
Different personalities, 3 different styles. She was so clever, so clever.
This was just lies upon lies.
One of the most intriguing, fascinating stories I've ever worked on.
So she was an 18-year-old girl pretending to be a 14, 15-year-old boy so she could sexually abuse 14, 15-year-old girls. Now I work, as I say, with Lancaster University as a research fellow. Academics are climbing all over this case because the typology of online sex offender, at the moment, the average age of an online sex offender in the UK is 24 because of things like sexting, people like Gemma, things like peer-to-peer networks, because they can unfortunately download indecent images of children by mistake. And it will be my mistake. They can still go to court if it's about thousands, because they tried to do what's called block downloads. So what I was trying to say here is you've got to remember that people online are not always who they say they are, and it's not going to be the glasses, receding 50-year-old guy from the U. It's not. It's going to be someone that you might think, yeah, that's a good friend. It could be recommended. 3 of the girls, 2 of them got abused, were recommended Gemma as a friend, or Luke, by the other girl who was a friend. They all knew each other. And I don't know whether anybody is from Surrey in the UK. There's a wonderful, we call it the Millionaires place. It's St George's Estate in Surrey, gated. Cliff Richard lives there and all that. She targeted girls from that estate. So actually it was very, very difficult to get in. It was all top security, but she did. And she abused them, and they believed she was a boy. So it was all quite odd. There's all different types of offenders. They all pretend to be different types of people, but they are very confident. These are people I've dealt with. You can see all the girls that they will talk to, and these girls will put up pictures, the selfies, look at me, look at me. Now I'm not saying all girls are doing this, but you've got to be aware that if you've got a daughter who is on Facebook or any others, what are they uploading? You can see this is a classic picture there of 2 friends, little quick pose. Innocent enough, but it's going on to this guy who was a sexual predator. He was a prison officer, took a picture in uniform. He wasn't worried. It is not being policed. There aren't police out there anymore looking for these people. There are more people in this room now than the whole of Europe of police officers actually online. So we really must make sure we're part of their lives. This guy was a sex offender who was very honest, didn't worry about it. He actually said he preferred younger girls with freckles. The actual site is called High Five, just a big site within Europe. They don't do anything about it. So again, we need to. This is Facebook. These are pictures of 2 girls who are horrifically abused in America. I know that from experience. But what's interesting, he uses that name. Now that name is synonymous with indecent images of children. I know that. Ray Gold. It actually uses with the @ sign in the middle of it. Facebook don't accept that and leave it. It's still up. So you can't prove it. You look at his interests, trading pics, teaching children. This is an open public site that's quite easy to find. Now I'm not saying all children are going to find it, please don't. It just shows that it's there. This thing here, that actually stands for pre-teen hardcore. So 10, 11, 12-year-olds. Facebook say, well, it could also mean polytetrahydrochloride. Well, yeah, it could, but it doesn't. But they won't take it down. That's somebody in the UK. What about Twitter? Twitter's very popular. Well, just like Facebook, you will have these on Twitter. Very easy to find. And it becomes a bit of a game sometimes. Now this person, another girl that was abused in America, unfortunately because of my work I did in a previous life, I know her, Sandra, she's now 29, abused since she was 4. This guy, and I know that that person has got this picture, means that he will be an online sex offender, and to right, he's got all these images that are indecent images of very, very young girls. Twitter, don't take it down. So you've got this big 3 C's, yeah? Content, conduct, contact, content. Inappropriate content by accident, they can come across that, it's open, it's not private. This is somebody in the UK, of course, it's a schoolie lover, so you can imagine the search term that could be used. You look at all the pictures that schoolie lovers got. There's nothing here, there's an indecent image of a child. But again, remember this expression, selfies? Phone, what the girls are doing? They're sort of inappropriate, but I ask you as parents, now, answer me this. Where's he got these pictures from? Where's he got them from? Internet, whereabouts? Facebook. So it could be this girl's profile, yeah, but chances are it could also be that girl's parents. So everybody has a role to play because he's got hold of them, just copied them. I did show this to you. Something we've got to be aware about, have it to bring it forward to say, yeah, what pictures have you uploaded? Do you really think that's appropriate? Remember that guy said about people being able to see, is it appropriate? Yeah, I know, it's in a private, but I know it's in a private folder, but just say your settings dropped, people have access to it, if they have that. Google images, Google and Facebook are one, yeah? So what happens is, they just scan everything that goes onto Facebook and they put it straight into Google Images. Full stop. So we've got to be aware that it's going to become searchable. So it's something that we need to know as parents. And then there will be the others on Twitter, pre-teen love, all this inappropriate content which is easily accessed. So it's not, when I say Twitter, it's not just about blogging. In fact, it actually isn't blogging. Blogging is your blogger, your WordPress. So just for that, for your benefit, if there are signs, this happens a lot with receiving of gifts, your child's making calls inadvertently, a lot of time online. I don't like that one, even though it's up there, because they do anyway. There's homework to be done, but what are they doing online? What are they doing? How often do we check? How often do we limit their time online? Possibly not often enough, possibly. So we need to communicate, monitor, and report, know who to speak to. And so I'm sitting there, I would say the first line of report possibly will be the school. And the reason I say that is not because they're law enforcement, but you've had the communication with your child, you've monitored the child, and you've noticed a difference. If you come to the school, they'll go, do you know, we've noticed that as well. That's when you then decide to go to either the police here, or you can go to a website called InSafe, which is for the whole of Europe. You can go to these places, but you work together. You have this a web of protection for the child, because professionals who work here, responsible adults, I've told them all day, these are trusted adults. They say family, I say teachers, we all say teachers and family, because that's who I want them to really make sure they can speak out, speak to. Well, you can do things, you can do the settings, you can do the browser history, you can limit when they can go on the internet. It's very simple to do. You don't need great knowledge, because I can do it and I don't have great technical knowledge. But cyberbullying, which they all appreciated, is there. And you know, what is it? Electronic means, it's there, it's horrible, it'll be around forever at the moment. But I tried to make them champions. I was paying compliments to their knowledge. They can turn that into positive work, even if I was asking the sixth formers, come on, champion it. Let's put a stop to it in this school. Well, it never happens in this school, but it will happen on sites. So if they hear about it, if they hear, see, or read it, stand up for your friend next to you. Have each other's back. And I mentioned this to them. I said, the hardest thing to have as a victim is a voice. That is the hardest thing. And yet, the easiest thing to have as an offender is a voice. We want to turn that around a bit. Stop them saying it, but getting the victims to actually feel that they can step up. And that's so important, and they appreciated that. Because when it comes down to it, you know, it is the way that we hurt has evolved.
Megan was confused. She was, where is this coming from? What the heck? She got a message from Josh that said, I don't want to be friends with you anymore. You're not a nice person. You heard me. No one likes you. No one wants to be friends with you anymore. And there were things like, you're a fat bitch. No one would ever go out with you. You're nasty. You're disgusting. It was devastating to her. I just got an absolute horrible feeling. I don't know how else to describe it. I opened her door and I found her hanging in her closet.
Cyberbullying seemed to emerge.
It's awful to say that in the UK at the moment you can't really go a week without hearing about another suicide. And it tends to be between the ages of 12 and 17. It's horrible, the fact that that is where we are, and the fact that there are sites that are created and not taken down and said, thinking of committing suicide? We can help. And that's where Hannah Smith on Ask FM had certainly been. Again, facts and figures will always show that it will happen, it will be here, but we can try and reduce those statistics. But because it is everywhere, it does go viral. Why? You know, this thing about the voice, I was explaining, well, a lot of it is still this. Our parents don't get it. Well, you will from now. They're worried about the device being taken away. Or, of course, it might be my fault, which is wrong. It's not their fault at all. But there are these issues that we want to break down to make sure that they will talk, whether that starts with their peers or their friends within school. It doesn't matter, we have to break that down. But the funny thing is, teachers and parents, you can always be cyberbullied. By the definition of the law, you can't be cyberbullied if you're over 18. You can only be stalked or harassed. However, we know we do use the term. Teachers are definitely victims of it because they're open to abuse. Online, Facebook, they'll find them just as much. But interesting about that, as I said, age and size. It used to be the big boy beating up the little boy, or the big girl, the little girl. Age and size have nothing to do with it now. Tap a little throwaway comment, it's gone. It's there for good, but you walk away from it. So what's in the news is the Hannah Smith story on Ask FM. Now the thing about Ask FM, as I said, is in Latvia, so they won't work with any other country or law enforcement. They say, it's Latvian. Of course it got, yeah. And that's the attitude. So again, the internet doesn't really have international police. There isn't a border. You can't really go to like Interpol. They can't do anything. So again, it's up to us to monitor what is actually happening online. This was Hannah's last message. And of course, this content. So many said they're on our Ask FM, but you've also Ask FM being infiltrated by sex offenders. They don't stop it, they just allow anybody on there to ask all these sorts of questions. One thing I should say, anything that I do say here, like ask them, I recommend you have a look at it. Get Snapchat on your app. I mean, they had a little giggle because they could see that I've got Snapchat, and you know, you're a bit old for that, aren't you? That sort of thing. You could see this. Yeah, if your child or young adult is using Ask FM, have a look at it. Get them to show it to you. Doesn't mean you use it all the time. Just be aware of what it actually can do. Some of you will automatically use Minecraft. Some of you will be gamers. Some of you will know about Call of Duty or Black Ops. I personally don't. I don't have boys. I've got 3 girls. I've seen them and I get people to tell me about them, but I've never been a gamer. But because of my previous life, I know everything about social networking, and which upsets my daughters sometimes, because I tend to say, no, I know about that, you can't have it. Especially my 10-year-old, she rules the roost. But certainly, this is recent as well in the UK, so they can't really go a week at the moment. This was in April though. So. Because it's just at the moment, it's pressure, it's the internet for you. I put this about trolling, because if you haven't heard what a troll is, it literally is similar to cyberbullying, but it's not cyberbullying in that it's the intention of causing maximum disruption or pain amongst many. what that means is you don't need to know the individual to troll them. To cyberbully somebody, chances are you're going to know the person and you want to cause that one person a lot of embarrassment or pain. But trolling is, I want to hurt you all by insulting a common denominator, a person. People who follow football, 2 years ago, the footballer Fabrice Muamba, playing in the UK, had a heart attack on the pitch and they were carrying out CPR at Tottenham's pitch, and it was all being shown live on Sky. But whilst that was happening, everybody was shocked. Liam Stacey in Wales was texting very, very racist, hurtful comments about him dying. And he was arrested for trolling. That's a classic troll. The other one will be when someone like Hannah commits suicide or Ben commits suicide. Friends set up what's called an RIP site, rest in peace site, to say condolences, to say how much they'll be missed. A troll will come on and say, didn't like her, didn't like him, or be very nasty about the individual. Happens all the time. That's a troll. But when we talk about him, it's huge importance of getting out there. That, to me, is very important. Not many e-safety people will ever say that to you, because it's a bit, you can't tell me my child's a bully. Some of them will be. We have to accept. I have to accept that one of my daughters could be a bully because someone's been bullied at school. So it's just as important to be aware of online behaviour because of possibility of them being a bully as them being bullied. So I use this for the younger children this way, and I have to say I run the risk of saying to year 5 and 6, can you please tell me another word for respect? And I can feel in the room, so teachers going, that's a bit tough. They were brilliant. They were coming out with responsibility, they were coming out with kindness. What else was there? Loads. Loyalty. They had all these wonderful words. They knew what respect meant. That's it for me. That's like, yes. Because they know what it means, I could then press on about how we can show respect to each other, how they can show respect to each other. They were brilliant for that. They understood. Again, great knowledge. We talked about blocking, talked about zipping, not sharing information to the younger pupils. Blocking, if you see something nasty, get rid of it. Delete nasty emails, block it, tell the trusted adult, tell the parents. Perhaps before, but always get them involved. Again, something that was accepted. I don't think they're all going to go home and go, come on mum, come on dad, let's go. It won't happen, but you've now got the opportunity to get into their life. But you're going to have to get it into that life in such a way that you listen. They've got the knowledge. I've told them they are the educators. They're going to educate you. And just bear with me on that for a bit, because chances are you do know a lot more. But just let them teach you about it all, and you'll be amazed at some of their knowledge and how they can actually help you guys. Naturally tells them. So they were aware of this, and I did use this a lot. I talked about sexting, not to the younger ones. I skipped over that. I didn't want to really go into that in great detail. But obviously, again, with things like sexting, it is here, it is there. I talked to them, I said, well, how does it start? Yes, it's teen romance, it's the flirting, it's the showing off. Then it comes back down to him, it gets nasty. Again, a lot of suicides have been as a result of sexting, because someone takes the picture and it goes on the internet and goes viral. This guy, classic. Then I talked about Snapchat. Now those who don't know Snapchat, that's what it looks like. People who uses it here? Yeah? Snapchat? What happened with Snapchat? Snapchat is an application that allows you to take a picture and send it to somebody else and set how many times or how many seconds they can see it or view it. So your son or daughter can take a picture of themselves, send it to somebody using Snapchat. After the 5 seconds, it disappears off their phone. So you could get their phone. Oh, you got no pictures. Oh, that's good. So no problem. If they've got Snapchat, they could use that. Now, what happened in America and now in the UK, it's very popular. Sexting went up through the roof because I've got 3 daughters, I don't like boys. So the boys, it's always the boys that try and convince the new girlfriend to take that little sexy pose, take a picture and send it to me. Oh, use Snapchat, because all that happened, I only see it because I love you so much. Use Snapchat and it'll disappear off my phone. Oh, okay then, said. Well, guess what? All you do is screen capture. And Snapchat didn't really, the people said, oh, they can't do that. Oh, yeah, you can. And I had a wonderful discussion with the sixth form, and then going down to 10 and 11, and some in the year 9, about the fact they will say, oh, well, yeah, but what it does, they have changed it, because now they will tell you if that person's taken the screen capture. I went, and? You've sent them the picture. Does that matter? Because you've lost control of it. So he talked a lot about the control of the things that you've got and what you're doing with them. Because the minute you send, no, it doesn't matter that they could tell you he's uploaded it to YouTube. You can't do anything about it. So Snapchat, yeah, it's something to be aware of. It's an app. It's quite a good little invention. For me, is it a no-no? No. But again, there's no need to use it. I would say some of these apps should be perhaps over 16. You can get married at 16. You know, I did go and explain about the legalities of sexting, what we must understand here. And I did say that if you've got two 15-year-olds, boy and a girl, 2 boys, 2 girls, doesn't matter. If they're together, they love each other, they're 15, and they take a picture of each other, and it's a sexually explicit picture, and they have, is it a criminal offence? Is it against the law? Who commits the offence? The boy, the girl, both? Both do. In the UK, a child by definition, I think it's the same in Spain, is under 18. So an indecent image of a child is somebody under 18, and it's a sexually explicit picture. Well, that means anybody who sends a sext and is under 18 commits a criminal offence. Now, in the UK, if you're 16 and you're married, it's not a criminal offence for the girl to take and give to her new husband. But it would be if the husband sends it to his best man, because she hasn't given permission for him to send it all the way around the world, basically. And of course, I did equate this to the concern, this is a huge concern, but what about online reputation? Because if you're 2 15-year-olds, and I'm a father of 3 girls, if I know the boy has convinced my daughter to do that, I will want him hung. Go on, send him to jail, lock away the key. I will want him to feel the full force of the law at court. Well, the full force of the law is not going to prison, but it's 1 year on the sex offender register. Now, the father of the boy or the mother of the boy could turn around to me and say, well, hang on a minute, your daughter took the picture and sent it. She's only 15, so my daughter could be arrested as well. And she could then be put on the sex offender register for 1 year. How is that as an online reputation? Will she get to university? Because it's all searchable. It'll be in the press. You've just about, for one silly prank, one bit of romance, ended what could be a very good career, or it'll take longer to get where you want to go, whether it's university or a job. So there's a huge, serious side to the online reputation, the digital footprint to sexting, not just the sexual side to it, which is very, very damaging as well. It's led on to things like you'll hear sextortion, which means that they get all these pictures and will say to the girl when the romance breaks up, or to the boy, unless you pay me money, I'm going to send those pictures to everybody. Happens a lot because of the control and the amount of pictures that are out there. The sex casting, this is when we talk about thank you. We have the situation with these. What year is your son?
He's in year 8.
I've spoken to him today then. The video chat sites, the chat roulettes, again we had hands going up. And basically when I was chatting to them, I sort of wanted to point out this. Now, a lot of people have been on the sites. Would I say, last night I spoke to parents, and at least 3 parents have been on. If you do want to have a look at it, you've got to be prepared for 2 things. One, you'll see a lot of naked men. But what you can also do to find out how it works is when you actually go online, it'll say, turn my webcam on. Just say no. And what happens then is, you don't really see these guys who want to be naked or are there, because they want to see you. So you can actually then see how it works, if you want to. But you'll see exactly the same with Omegle, O-M-E-G-L-E, which again, pupils here, they'd either heard of or they'd been on. And when I asked the question, how many of you would go on it again, hands stayed down. How many of you would tell your parents you've been on it, hands stayed down. And they were quite honest with me. Very much a boy thing, but there was an awful lot of girls from year 9 and above that would put their hand up and say they've been on it. Because what I had tried to got across them was this. What's happened as a result of it, you've got these chat roulettes and amigos being used by some very, very nasty people who are coercing very young girls to unfortunately take their clothes off on camera. They will then record it and create a website with all these young girls on it, and this is happening more and more. And that's in the bedroom. That's in the on the webcam. That's on Stickcam, chat roulette, and Amiga. That's ruined her online reputation. Of course, it's even more serious than that. That's complete and utter child exploitation. So what should you do? Please don't think, I'm not saying we must wrap them up in that bubble wrap I showed you at the first slide. We can't. They've got to have to learn. They're going to have to learn through mistakes. But let's learn with them, because that's what we do teach them to swim. Some of them won't ever be Olympic swimmers, but they can all look after themselves, and that's where we want to be. Because we want to get up to date with all these, especially the apps at the bottom. Want you to get up to date with that. Who are they talking to? What are they doing on Facebook? How many friends do they really need? 579 friends? No. The average is, believe it or not, I heard this wonderful fact. I like facts. The average for a 15-year-old is 234, which is the same amount as the highest number of people that climbed Everest in a year. See, heard that from me first. I'll never forget that fact. I heard it coming here. I think it was anyway. So who are they? Who are friends with? Are they just accepting them like that? How are they operating Facebook? Are the comments appropriate? What are they putting on there? As the child gets older, a Sunday job. What sort of job are they going to get? What comments are they putting on there? Is it dull just because you're doing a paper round, or is it you're helping out in a store? Is it? What are they doing on there? What names are they using? Can it identify you? What are they using? Have a look. Be part of it. Are the privacy settings set? I hope so. If they are, please be aware they can drop off through the glitch, so keep checking them the whole time. Because social networking is always going to be there, whether they're year 5 or younger. Now this is the interesting one about Flickr. This was a guy, I only showed this up because remember that guy I showed you about where he got the pictures from? But somebody was actually going through it and actually recognised pictures of his own daughter on there. Spoke to Flickr, eventually took it down. So it does happen. Same with the gaming. The boys were talked about whether it's Warcraft, it's quite old. To hear year 5 say, yeah, to Black Ops or Call of Duty, and then so I said, how old have you got to be to go on that? 18! Yeah, okay. So we've got to be aware of what we're actually doing. I'm not trying to say, please don't give it to them, but be part of it. If they've got headphones on and they're talking online, because a lot of bullying goes online with the messages, inappropriate words are coming down, you can hear on these, take them off, say, no, I want to listen to this for a bit. Or get a joint plug, and so you can listen to it at the same time. Just take 20 minutes out. So when they go on, build up this resilience. So if you hear a bad word, pull the plug, say, no, you're not on it. So they get to understand how to use it, how you might want to use it. I spoke about the downloading music, the iTunes, the YouTube, the Spotify, the Groove Shop, all the good ways, but what you shouldn't be using is, as you see there, the LimeWire. This is the peer-to-peer that causes a lot of viruses on the computers. And they understood that. They use things like eDonkey or eMule. And they shouldn't be using those. And then we talked about the wonderful mobile phones with the location services, the GPS, the facial recognition that you can now do. Do you know about that? If I take a picture of you and put it into Google,
Yes.
I can then say, I want to find all the pictures of you on the internet, please. And it'll go, yeah, there you go. And then I can take them, one of them will be on Facebook, all these pictures. I can then use more software, free, and get the metadata, which has a GPS, the geolocate within the picture. I can find out exactly where it's taken. So I tend to say, look, make sure these wonderful phones, to these young adults, turn the location services off, turn off notifications, just turn it off. You don't need them. Use it for games, yeah, okay. But don't let anybody know. Because the minute you take a picture and it's on, it's got information behind it that people can, if it's in your bedroom, they give you a satellite pinpointing exactly where you live. If I've got stuff here to show you, but we don't have the time, so please, when you go away, look on YouTube, it'll show it to you. It's absolutely amazing. So they can. Mobiles can do absolutely everything. Mobiles now outsell computers because we've got it in the palm of our hand. And that's the way technology is going. So when we finish with this about the online reputation, to making sure that as the older children and the younger children knew full well that the cyber resume, the cyber vetting, that happens now whether you like it or not. If I was to apply for a new job, I would expect them to cyber vet me. I use LinkedIn. I use Twitter. So they would want to, I'm a school governor. I do sit on new teacher panels, interview panels. I'm responsible for doing all the social media. So I get the file through and I'll find out. And I bet your bottom dollar, if I find something on there, I'll say, what about that? Or I will mention it. There might be the picture. I know that the teachers would hate to hear that. But that, it's like when we do mock interviews as well, I'll do that as well. So it's getting these year 9s, the year 10s, 11s, 12s, 13s, all of them to understand what they're putting online. This, I didn't use the interactive skill building, but I want them, these digital natives, to have positive digital footprints. To say, this is me in the real world, and this is me online, and you like me, both ways. Yes, I'll be accepted for that university. Yes, I can have that apprenticeship. Yes, I can have that job, because I'm a nice person. But they're also aware of nasty things that are being said about them. Fine. Teachers get it all the time on some sites. So I say to teachers, Google yourself, find out what's being said. Because if I find it as an interview panelist, they can say, yeah, I'm aware of that. That was an unfair comment. I did report back to the school governors where I was at the time. It was actually a child that had problems with the parent, and they can explain it. It's the same for a child. Explain the comment. You go, okay, thank you for that. Good explanation. They're aware of it. So awareness is huge. So when does the digital footprint start? 70% to 92 have a digital footprint. Well, why? Because people are putting their pictures on creating Facebook pages for unborn children. It's just it's what's happening. It's where we are. And it's so important that we control it a bit more. And I did show them all these career studies. About 40, it's high. It's high the whole time now. I use it. And the fact that you've got to be positive, privacy settings, they really ought to keep track of their online presence. Every week, Google. I couldn't say it enough to. And finally, with all of them, apart from the younger one, I did say about guarding the information. Really guard it. And if the year 5 and year 6, if they do mention, as I said, One Direction and this song, it's on YouTube, and I'll put it on the school can have it for their site. It's a wonderful song about sort of your personal information and not sharing it. So you've got this guard your information. Also, to limit the time online. I've said I will be saying to you guys that you might, 10 o'clock, let's cut off. I do something at home. Now, I'm not saying it will work for you guys. I've always said to my daughters, mobile phones get nosebleeds if they go over 5 foot. So they're not allowed up the stairs. All mobile phones have to stay downstairs in my house. I'm not a tyrant. I'm not a bad dad, I promise you. It's just I get so, we all get sick and tired of shush. So they go over there, they're not allowed in that room and they don't go upstairs, internet, that's it. But all that happened is my daughters get used to it, they know that, they become quite frank about it and they're also telling each other, I've got the phone upstairs. Something I do, I'm not saying do it, just something I do. So yeah, limiting the time. Friend or foe, the genocide to it, some of them saw it, I said, you've got to be careful. If you don't know the person, don't add them as a friend. If you don't know them in the real world, there's no need. There's absolutely no need. And when if you're going to speak to your parents, always speak to your parents. Have this dialogue the whole time. Don't bottle things up. Don't bottle things up. Have each other's back. Be friends in the real world. Yes, great. If you notice something, read something, hear something, help. Have each other's back. I said to them all the time, cover it up. Cover it up. This remote access is real. It's a real threat. Cover a bit of tape, bit of blue tape. Take it off when you need it. Please, when you go home and mention it, you can make it. Yeah, definitely. Let's decide. I'll tell you what we could do. Rather than let's make a nice little cover. The younger, just cover it up so we can just put a little cover over it. Design it yourself. Make a game out of it.
It's just a simple piece of paper.
Simple piece of paper. You can do anything you like. If you're really, really worried, you can take the software off. Not difficult. Not great to put it back on, but you can do that. It's your choice. This time and place, about checking in, you know that on Facebook, about this location services. Why do we give information away about ourselves without actually writing anything? We just check in. Oh, I'm here. I've done it here. I've said I'm in Madrid just to show off because I'm in Spain. I love being here. So I'll check in, I'm in Spain. And if people look on Facebook, it frightens the life out of me when you look at your timeline. And it shows you your life, your pictures, where you've been, and it maps it out. I think, God, the amount of information you can find out about me, I said no to a timeline. Facebook used to ask you, do you want it as a timeline? I said, no. It's happened now. Didn't even ask. It happened. Really said about the viruses, the free downloads, don't accept them, they don't read. So this is for the pupils to make sure they understand the pop-ups. Don't, leave them alone. It's a no-no, it's a no-no. Peer-to-peer, don't be a pirate. This is going to cause your computer to be ill. Simple as that. Your computer, and again, when I said, how many of you have lost a computer? Yep. Yesterday was great. The amount of kids yesterday at the school said, oh yeah, I've had two. Two broke. So proud of it. That's because they're going to the wrong areas. So we have to make sure what they're doing and where they go. I showed that it's a horrible picture. I accept it's a horrible picture, but it's a smart bit. But it is about this family. Everybody's involved. There's a hand somewhere everywhere. You can see every part of everybody because it is about this teamwork. If we can make it teamwork, and that teamwork, this whole cloak of protection, starting with parents, starting with themselves, and starting with parents and team, bringing in people, the other trusted adults, which will be other family members. It will be also teachers. We bring it all together. This staying safe, clicking clever, clicking safe. There's a little code, zipping, blocking, flagging. As you get older, controlling what your digital footprint is all about will allow you to be able to be digitally confident about what it says about you. And Googling yourselves on a weekly basis. There are controls. I rush through this only because there's things like that. I'm not a firm believer because what they can do, you can block, can allow all this, what they can't do. They can get in the way. And the way I describe that is that in England, if I wanted to stop them, sex, S-E-X, that means I cannot then search on Middlesex or Essex. It can get in the way. Be prepared for that. But I'm not saying don't do it. Perhaps it's a combination of it all. Buy some software, have good antivirus, good malware, good spyware, have a dialogue. If you get everything in, obviously it increases safety. But please don't rely on these things. Now, I don't work for those companies, but I'll show the names of them because I know that they work as filters and monitors, but they're not the be-all and end-all. Some people think they are. And with mobile phones, we've talked about. That's my lot, that's me. I do share it with the school. The school can have any part of this, all the films, etc. And you can have access to those, and I'm sure they will. Please follow me if you want. I'm not that interesting, but you know. But any questions you've got, please, by all means. I don't charge you. Please drop me an email. Just say, what's the best advice, please. But as I said, everything that I do or said today with the children and you guys and with the staff is shared with the school. But I'm free for any questions now if you have any at all. But thank you for your time if you need to go.